Hi everybody, Johnny here. I hope you're doing great today. You can find more good math at jmathpage.com. Today we're looking at multiplying 3's, and we're going to be using groups today. Alright, you've probably seen these before. 1 times 3, 2 times 3, 3 times 3, 4 times 3, 5 times 3, 6 times 3, 7 times 3, 8 times 3, 9 times 3, and 10 times 3. But what do these mean in terms of groups? Well, another way of reading 1 times 3, if we're thinking about groups, is one group of 3. So let's write that. One group of 3. 2 times 3 would be 2 groups of 3. 3 times 3, 3 groups of 3. And 4 times 3, 4 groups of 3. 4 groups of 3. 5 groups of 3 for 5 times 3. So 5 groups of 3. 6 times 3, 6 groups of 3. 6 groups of 3. 7 times 3, 7 groups of 3. 7 groups of 3. 8 times 3, 8 groups of 3. 8 groups of 3. 9 times 3 would be 9 groups of 3. And the last one, 10 times 3, 10 groups of 3. So 10 groups of 3. Oh, well, okay, we know that we can say 4 times 3 is 4 groups of 3. But what does that look like? Let's try this out, okay? Let's make some groups. If we're thinking about one group of 3, well, that's easy. We get one group of 3. If we think about 2 groups of 3, we have one group of 3 and a second group of 3. If we think about 3 groups of 3, we have 1, 2, 3 groups of 3, right? And with 4 groups of 3, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 groups of 3. 5 groups of 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 groups of 3. And 6 groups of 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7 groups of 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 groups of 3, and 8 groups of 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 groups of 3, and 9 groups of 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 groups of 3, and 10 groups of 3, 1, 2, 3, 4 groups, 5, 6, 7, 8 groups, 9 groups, and 10 groups. So now we have all of these multiplication sentences shown in terms of groups. Let's take it one step further. What does this all mean? Well, let's look at it this way. If we look at one group of 3, well, how many do we have? We have 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this is our group, right? One group of 3 makes 3. We can also say that 1 times 3 equals 3. Okay. What about two groups of 3? Well, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in this group, but I could count it differently, couldn't I? I could count it as 3 and 3 more. 3 and 3 more gives us 6. So we can say two groups of 3 make 6. We could also say that 2 times 3 equals 6. What about three groups of 3? Well, let's see. In this grouping, put them all together. I can count 3, 6, 9. Okay. So I know three groups of 3 make 9. I can also say 3 times 3 equals 9. What about four groups of 3? Well, I'm seeing something interesting here. I see all the 3's together, but there's more than one way to look at them, huh? So 3, 6, 9, and 12. Or I could think of 6 and 6 more, couldn't I? Because 3 goes into 6. So I have 12 altogether. So I can say four groups of 3 make 12. I can also say 4 times 3 equals 12. All right. What about 5 times 3? 5 groups of 3. Well, let's put them all together and figure out what they are in total. Let's count them. 3, 6, 9, 12, and 3 more. 3 more makes 15. So 5 groups of 3 make 15. And I can also say that 5 times 3 equals 15. 6 groups of 3. 6 times 3, 6 groups of 3. Let's bundle them all together and find out how much they are together. I'm seeing more than one way to look at them, aren't you? I can see that 3 and 3 more make 6, 9, 12, 15, 18 altogether. Some of you might notice that there's 6 here, 6 here, and 6 here. So as much as there's 6 groups of 3, there's also 3 groups of 6. Works both ways, right? So we know 6 groups of 3 make 18. We can also say that 6 times 3 equals 18. 7 times 3, 7 groups of 3. All right, how many here? Let's count them all together. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, and 3 more make 21. So 7 groups of 3 make 21. We can also say that 7 times 3 equals 21. 8 groups of 3. Lots of different ways to look at this, isn't there? So let's put them all together first to figure them out. So if I'm looking here, I can count them by 3's, right? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, and 3 more makes 24. I could also see 4 groups of 6, right? 1 group of 6, 2 groups of 6, 3 groups of 6, 4 groups of 6, which also makes 21. And some of you might notice that there's 2 groups of 12. Lots of ways to look at this one, huh? But we know for sure that 8 groups of 3 make 24. And we can also say that 8 times 3 equals 24. 9 groups of 3. All right, so many to count this time, huh? How many are here? Okay. If we count by 3's, we get 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, and 3 more makes 27. Some of you may have noticed that it's instead of just 9 groups of 3, we could think of 3 groups of 9. And it's the same thing, isn't it, either way? So 9 groups of 3 is the same as 3 groups of 9, and both of those make 27. We can also say 9 times 3 equals 27. Last one. 10 times 3, 10 groups of 3. Well, let's bundle them all together. So we're trying to see what the sum of all these 3's is. Okay, so let's count them. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, and 30. You probably already knew that. The other thing I noticed, though, is that it's 4 groups of 3, which we know is 12. Another group of 4 groups of 3, another 12, so 12 and 12, and then 6 more. That also makes 30, doesn't it? So 10 groups of 3 make 30. We can also say 10 times 3 equals 30. So we can see that when we have a sentence like 6 times 3 in multiplication, we can think about it in terms of groups, right? So we can say 6 groups of 3, 6 groups of 3. And if we make a picture of it, we can count and see how much the total would be. In this case, 6 groups of 3 make 18. It also tells us that 6 times 3 equals 18. I do hope this look at grouping has been helpful to you.